you. Okay, hi everyone. Obviously, I had a child of my own, and this was a request by Kim Union 1985. I'll put the username there if I've completely hashed the pronunciation there. But thank you, Kim, for the request. But I thought it was actually quite useful to share my experience out there for those of you that may be going to become a first-time mum, or even those of you that are a mum and might want to leave some feedback down below about your experience. Hello! Oh my goodness, it's transition screen, and what happened? No, now that footage that I originally shot was back, as I said, when my son was 8 weeks old. He's now 17 months, almost 18 months old. So that was a fair while ago, and it's been quite a while that I've been wanting to get that post up anyway. Now the reason I'm not using the original footage is, unfortunately, I lost a lot of the audio. Not only did it go out of sync pretty much just after that first section, but it missing in parts, out of sync in others, and I'm also heavily sleep deprived, if you couldn't tell from that beginning shot. So I thought I'll put it up here, and that was originally made for my beauty channel. I think this is a little bit more of an appropriate place to sort of post it, obviously, so I thought let's just start afresh. I've got that original intro and let's just go straight into it. So pretty much though, the reason I like to put this up anyway is that I find it quite useful watching other people's stories as well, experiences. Not just listening to, you know, the experts, the professionals out there, and seeing documentaries. It was great to actually listen to someone that was sort of not necessarily in my age group. I'm in my mid-30s now, but more in the fact that they'd given birth recently, or at least in the last decade. So that's sort of why I'm sort of sharing this. And I know every story is going to be different. Everyone's going to experience it slightly different. For me though, I did give birth in a hospital, and I only used a little bit of pain relief. I didn't do the epidurals. I used nitrous oxide, and that's just a little bit of the gas when I had some of the heavy contractions, but I did not use it in the final stage of labour, the actual giving birth, the actual pushing stage. I didn't use it during that time. To prepare for the delivery, I didn't have an obstetrician. I sort of went through the public sort of health system. It was pretty good for me. And I'm in Australia, I'm in Sydney, or New South Wales, by the way, for those of you that might be interested. I talked to my local GP, and she was a doctor and she had 4 children, and she recommended me getting in contact with the hospital. She gave me some courses that they ran, which is actually a really, really good thing. I found it very helpful. Some might not, but for me to actually go to, I suppose, seminars and classes with people that were in my condition, that were actually going to be having a baby, it was really, really, really useful, I found. And I pretty much did a class on not just, I suppose, birth, but also how to care for the baby, how breastfeeding. I did a class on sort of your body, the changes that your body goes through after the pregnancy. And that really interesting as well, sort of how to be prepared for that. I did do a class on actual pain relief, just so I knew. I went into it though knowing I did not want an epidural. Sort of done my research prior. I never wanted an epidural, didn't have one. And I didn't want anything that was sort of morphine based, that sort of line, because I get severely allergic or sensitive to it, so I didn't want that as well. And it was a chance to also get to interact with some of the medical professionals that were actually at that hospital as well. And I also did a tour. You can do that, I mean, obviously it depends where you're going to be giving birth, but I also did a tour of the floor, so just to see how it sort of worked, what it sort of looked like, what to prepare for, and so I would have my support person, what they would sort of do, what they would bring, and all that sort of stuff. It also got me a chance to book into the hospital, get the phone number, which worked out really well. You need a sort of contact. So anyway, that was what I found useful. Yeah, so it sort of helped not just to physically prepare for it, but mentally. And I find that's a really big thing, is to mentally prepare for it. I could not wait. No offense to the carers in there, but I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I ended up being in there in the hospital post-delivery for 7 days, about a week. And then about 2 months after that, I think just after I filmed that video, I was actually very sick too. I didn't realise it at the time, but I was stuck in hospital again for 8 days. Anyway, another story. But I found that all very useful mentally as well. But the most shocking thing, and I cannot believe how naive I was, but it goes, like I said, to show what I didn't know. I didn't have anyone, like I said, around my, I suppose, peer group that had given birth recently. So I was going on documentaries, and I don't go into too much about what to do. You know, it was the physical changes.
and what happens during the birth, but not that in-between thing when you actually go into labour. So what I depended on, and you're going to laugh, was the movies. And we all know, classic sitcom gag, movie gag, lady goes into labour, everyone panics, hot water towels, jump in the car, go to the hospital, go to the emergency room. So as soon as she goes into labour, waters break, off to the hospital. Now I didn't know when you go into labour, you start getting your contractions or what have you, it doesn't mean your waters are going to break, and it doesn't mean you go to the hospital. Obviously depends on the scenario, but pretty much I was shocked in the class, and so was my husband. He was my support person. When you go to the classes, it's good to have someone that's going to be there when you're giving birth, or to help you sort of when you're in labour, etc. We were both sitting there going, really? I had no idea that when you go into labour, and there's different stages of labour, that you pretty much hang out at home, or you pretty much hang out doing what you do, making sure all your bags are packed, la-di-da-di-da, go for a walk around the park, hot water bottle, etc. And then once you're sort of closer, obviously I won't go into details about it, but then you go to the hospital. So you could be at home in labour going through your contractions for, could be 18 hours, it could be 10 hours, it could be 5 hours, what have you, before you actually go there. And they even said, like, if you turn up before you're pretty much ready, have you, they will send you home. And I'm like, what? Is that why people end up giving birth in the cars on the freeway? As they make out in the class, of course, like going on contractions will get closer and closer and all that. Didn't happen to me. My contractions stayed 3 minutes to 5 minutes apart until I actually popped the baby out, to put it mildly and crudely. But yes, so it's not necessary as they say, but pretty much in a nutshell, my experience was gone out to a birthday dinner that evening, or the night before, and feeling fine. I was over 35 weeks, so I was on that cusp of just being under. So I didn't think everything went to bed fine. Rolled over at about 1:30 a.m. in the morning, and I just knew my waters broke. I didn't actually feel anything, I just knew. I sat bolt upright and I knew my waters had broken. So for me, that happened first, before the contractions. Waters broke, I sat bolt upright, oh my gosh. Panic mode, started to sit in, go to tell my husband, he's half asleep, doesn't really care at that stage. So I thought, no, look, I could have hours and hours, I could have even a couple of days at home. Yeah, chillin', no worries, be relaxed. Get out of the bed, you know, go to the bathroom, you know, you get changed and stuff like that. Then I just started to panic, because I'm thinking, it's too soon. It wasn't really, but it was just like, I'm not ready. Goodness me, I've only had, like, this is only my second week off work. Come on. And then for me, I just went straight to my folder. I kept a folder. That was just my personal thing, or even a tip, to keep all the little bits and pieces in a folder. And I kept it all in a folder. Right as soon as I opened that folder, I had the phone number of the delivery suite. So that's pretty much what you contact first. Is that they say don't generally to call them until you're sort of at that stage, but I just panicked. So they said call them if you need. So I rang the number. They were good. They listened to me, what I described and stuff like that. And I said, look, come straight in, just because I was under the 36 weeks. So, you know, managed to drag my husband out of the bed, but literally I just went straight up there, grabbed the bags, I went out, no wallet, no purse, no makeup. My hair was even worse than it is now. I was just, you know, I'm in my pajamas, you know, I look terrible, my waters are still breaking. I mean, your waters can break for hours afterwards, but, you know, waters are still breaking, you know, and then the pain started, I started to get the contractions or the backache, the intense backache. So we're up there, and I get out, and there's no one there to greet you. There isn't. They knew I was coming, but there was no one there to greet me. So I'm there scuffling along. You know, it's cold. It's you know, early morning. It must be about 2 o'clock by then. I'm scuffling in, going, this is not like the movies. This is so not like the movies. It's not glamorous at all. This is, you know, I see a wheelchair there. No one's coming to get a wheelchair. No one cares. Pretty much. Walked up to the desk, and the lady's like, "Can I help you?" Like, pretty much, she'd seen it all. You know, no offense by that, but by the end of the conversation, I really wanted to, you know, because you're standing there, I'm in pain, I'm in labour. Well, not in labour, it's the first stage of labour, or not true labour, I don't think it's called. You know, but, you know, got the back pain, waters are breaking, I look so unglamorous. Fill in the paperwork, where's your Medicare card? Excuse me? Now, I thought I was prepared for everything, but I will warn you ladies, if you think you are, you know, something's going to go wrong, but I did not have my Medicare card with me, because I went straight to the hospital. I didn't think to take my purse, especially when they say do not bring any personal valuables, and that to me is valuable. So I didn't take my Medicare card in my wallet. Doctors said just bring these certain forms, never told me to bring a Medicare card, and I, of course, stupidly didn't think to ask, is there any cards or something that I might need to bring, or identification? Duh. But she kept going on and on and on, where's your Medicare card, and I'm just going, I'm hanging on to the desk at this point, where's your Medicare card, we need your Medicare card, has your husband got your Medicare card? And I kept trying to say over and over, like Groundhog Day, I don't have it, look, can I just go up, I'll go home and get him to get it, okay, that we're close, he can go get it, I just want to get up into the, where's your Medicare? You know, that guy from that lady character from Monsters Inc., the master, where's your Medicare card? Sorry guys, but it was just like, what? Eventually she let me go up, and of course, you know, I'm shuffling it. Just before I shuffle up though, this could have been in the movies, because it was one of those stupid scenarios where I just looked over after all of that and I looked like just hag lady, and this lady is I say immaculately dressed. It looked like she was going shopping. She had jewelry on, makeup on, nicely dressed, and she was obviously, she had a tummy, she was obviously in labour too, but she'd been prepared and everything like that, and she'd come in the full regatta, and I'm just going, oh. You know, you have those moments where you turn up to somewhere, like, for example, if you go to a fancy dress, you think it's fancy dress, I'm in the fancy dress and they're not, and I look like a complete idiot. That's how I actually have done that. I've gone to, anyway, another story. That was pretty much it. So I shuffled on up in the elevator, you know, and I'm just going, where's my wheelchair? So much not like the movies. I was just laughing to myself about that stage. And then I pretty much went in. You go into a pre-suite where you, for me, we start to get prepped, and then eventually they just leave you in the room, and you pretty much just help yourself for several hours, and they come back and check how dilated you are, but you're pretty much on your own with your support person, or at least for me, I was lucky I didn't have to share the room with anyone else giving birth. And then also later on when I went down to the suite, I was also very, very fortunate, especially for the public system, I didn't have to share a room with anyone, so I was very blessed in that instance. And actually I hear my little man from his nap, so I'll go and I'll finish this.